What's up, desktopers? Xavier Wills here for Desktop Bodybuilding, and we're back for another episode of Bodybuilding University. You notice it looks a little bit different this time. We've got Brett Wilkin, as always. But this week we have Lee Priest, Andrew Jack, who's competing this weekend in the Texas Pro, making his pro debut, and Stanimal Stan Delonge. I think, hopefully I'm still getting that right, Stan, or close to it, who's out there in Dragon's Lair IFBB Pro as well. But obviously, a stacked lineup here, and it's going to be a stacked lineup this weekend in Texas, which Andrew is making his pro debut at. But man, how you doing? It's good to have you on here, and man, some of those updates that are coming out of the Dragons Lair are looking pretty crazy. So how's all the feedback been, and are you obviously excited for this weekend?
Well, I'm doing good. I would say the feedbacks have been good, has been positive, supporting and everything. And we'll just see what happens on the weekend, because I don't know, like for me, I'm focused on just the mission. I'm focused on what I'm doing. I don't if you look at my posts, even I don't post like physical updates. I don't know, except for videos that I get leaked and the people post and tag me and just have to like, okay, just pay back the favor. But for me, I just do my thing and that's it.
You need to tell Milos to put his phone down, bro. He can't keep anything a secret. He's meaning to do that shit. You know that, right?
Yeah, man, bro, like just can't do anything. Like, I mean, like people keep saying, oh, he don't post like physic updates and all. On Instagram, you will never see any update there, except you see reposts, especially on stories. Only do things on YouTube. I don't, I just mind my business. I just stay focused on the mission, not trying to, just create some awareness. At the end of the day, you don't live up to expectation, and you'll be fucked up. You know what I mean? Yeah. So
tell them you're old school. You're too busy training to fucking be posting. So
exactly true. And if I'm working out, yeah, my phone is always in my bag.
Mm-hmm.
Just for my phone is in my bag. I never go in and check my phone or whatever. No, except for my girl who would just like capture me on for stories or camera. That's it.
Hear that, people? His phone's in his bag. That's why he'll be Mr. Olympia in a couple of years, and you other fuckers won't be.
Yeah, Andrew, like obviously, like all the physique updates have been like absolutely outstanding, and you're only obviously days out from your pro debut. Who are you excited to, I suppose, stand against most? Because you got like Steve Kuklo in there, you got Quinton Arai, who I actually just interviewed a few hours ago. So who are you most excited to, I suppose, stand next to in that lineup?
Oh man, I'm excited to stand with everyone, like everyone who's competing in this show. I'm excited to stand with each and every one of them, because they're there for a purpose also. So it's a good thing, and I would say I'm just a new kid in the block. So definitely I've got lots to learn from each and every one of them, because check their stats. They've all been to pro shows, not one, not two. So I think I'm the guy like doing the debut. So I think I have a lot to learn from each and every one of them. So I respect each and every one of them, and definitely I'll get to learn from them.
Well, I actually heard, I don't know who said this, I don't know if you said it, I can't remember actually how I heard it, but someone said that if you won a Mr. Olympia, like just say you came in and, shocked everyone, in the next couple of years and won a Mr. Olympia, that you would retire. Is that true?
Why are you laughing, Brett?
I said not after you get that taste, you aren't retiring.
Hey man, I'll just wait until that time comes. I'll wait till that time comes. The main thing I'm focused now is just it's staying healthy. Longevity is what I'm after, because it's priceless. Yeah.
How old are you?
37.
Okay.
Cool.
Oh
yeah.
When did you start? Like when did you start like officially training, and then also when did you start sort of competing and looking at bodybuilding?
Officially bodybuilding, competing, I think that was last year. Yeah. Bro, I was just I'm a lover of sport. I've been a sportsman ever since as a kid. I've done lots and lots different kinds of sports, and I'm good at everything. I'm versatile, and I just decided to give I've competed in so many sports, MMA too, boxing too, football, call it like marathon, like sprinting, like javelin, like whatever. You know, I'm good. I've done calisthenics. I've done so many things, but I used to try to give bodybuilding a try and see how it is because of the feedbacks I was like getting. You know what I mean? So yeah.
How tall are you?
I'm 6'2".
Yeah, that's tall, man. Like, because when obviously you see videos and photos of guys that are taller, generally they don't look as impressive as guys that are, you know, like you obviously look at like Lee Priest, you back in the day, everyone's like, that's Mr. Olympia, like hands down, you know, seeing an individual photo of you. But then like, you know, they could justify, you know, these guys are bigger, taller, whatever, and have overall more pounds on their body. So it makes your physique updates even more impressive. And I know I spoke with Milos on the phone and he was telling me how impressed he was with you. Like he was actually just blown away. And you know, someone like that says it has like a lot of credibility because, you know, he sees a lot of top pro bodybuilders. So how does, I suppose, that all feel?
I don't know why people keep saying that, because I see myself as just a regular guy that goes to the gym to work out and just have fun. So like for me, I don't see myself like, you know, being all those kind of, you know, the whole impressive blah blah thing. I just see myself like a sportsman who's going to just have fun. But whenever people pay like credit, yeah, I take it because it's positivity. So I'll just be like, okay, yeah, thank you. But I don't see myself as the whole. Nah, I see myself just the regular guy, like someone you walk into the gym, you see him like training and working out. That's it.
Yeah, man. I've just got one more question as well, because you're working with George Farah and you're working with Flex Wheeler as well. And I've heard like Flex Wheeler's been, you know, not in a good way and come into the gym to train you and been, you know, in obviously like a lot of pain and stuff. So he's obviously got a huge amount of dedication for training you. So what's your relationship like with Flex, and do you know how he's like doing now?
Thank God he's back from the hospital. I mean, it's been sad. It's been sad. He's been just quite unfortunate. But at the end of the day, we thank God he's still healthy. He's fighting. He's a fighter. He's like a cat with 9 lives. You know, he's been there. So many has come and gone, but he's still there fighting. And well, you just can't say. I'm just happy with how he is now. And ever since he reached out to me last year, we started to work together. He's been pushing himself. Like sometimes I tell him even to like just chill and relax and take care of himself. But he's like, no, he wants to like he wants to go all in, but you know, his body just can't like take it. So he's my brother, man.
Yeah.
You know, he's a fighter. Yeah, George has been awesome and phenomenal. He's my nutritionist. He's been awesome and phenomenal. So it's been good.
Yeah, that's cool,
Is
man.
George gonna be there this weekend, or both of them?
Yeah. No, George. No, we actually had a fight with Flex over like coming here.
Oh, yeah. He wanted to come.
I'm telling you, bro, like it's funny. Like me and George had a fight with Flex that, bro, I mean, you just left the hospital like it's barely days. Just sit back, chill, relax, recover. He said, no, man, I want to. I'm like, bro, I don't want no distraction because I'll be distracted about you not feeling too well. You know what I mean? So just like sit this one out. It's no big deal. We'll still be in the Arnold, UK. So we managed to convince him, and it was 2 against 1, so he couldn't do anything.
That's funny, man. It shows you guys, man, it shows you got a good heart as well. Like obviously, you know, caring so much about him, it would stress you out. Obviously shows you got good nature and all that sort of stuff. So man, I love seeing stuff from you. I've enjoyed seeing interviews on other channels and stuff, and just can't wait to see your pro debut this weekend, man. But we'll let you get going, and yeah, best of luck in Texas.
Thanks a lot, sir. Thanks a lot, guys. Thanks a lot. Brett, good to see you again. Good to see you again for the second time.
Yes, sir.
Lee, it's been a pleasure, man. It's been a pleasure. It's been a
Very
pleasure.
nice, very nice meeting you. And like I said, from the sneak pics and videos I've seen, you look great. So like I said, just go do your best, and I hope it all goes in your favor.
Thanks a lot, sir. Thanks a lot. And Stan, it's good to see you again also. I saw you like 3 days ago. And Xavier, thanks for having me. Yeah, I need to go eat.
Insane, man.
I need to go eat, take a good shit, and go shave this thing off.
It's been a pleasure,
Thank
man.
You, guys.
Take care.
Well, that's fun.
Yeah.
Take care.
Yeah.
Sweet. So that's cool, obviously, to have Andrew on. But Lee, I know you don't have a huge amount more time. You got about 10 minutes or so.
Oh, yes. I got to go shopping with my mum at Costco. Oh, it's like, you know, I love my mum, but if you've ever been shopping, I don't know if you ever went shopping with your mothers, but my mum can go into a dollar shop, you know, those crappy dollar shops, and she can be in there for 3 fucking hours.
Wow.
So you know what going to Costco is going to be like? She'll be like, hey, Lee, can you pick me up? I need to go to the shopping center. 9 a.m. Let's go early. 5 p.m. I'm still in the fucking shopping center. It's like, oh my God. It's like,
oh yeah, it's painful, man. I remember I used to, when my nan was alive, I used to go shopping with her when I was a kid, and it was like it was a stressful experience, and it was she could look down one aisle just looking at different things for so long, and then she'd go, oh, where's my shopping list? And she'd lose it about 10 times while we're in the shop, and I'm like, this is just like you have all the time in the world because you take 2.5 hours just going to the supermarket to get a few things, you know.
But this is like even worse. Like if you go to a shopping center where you've got clothing shops, those junk shops, she'll be buying shit she doesn't need. I'm like, why are you buying that? It's on sale, but you don't need it. So how are you saving money if you don't need it? What's the point of buying it? Well, somebody might need it. And then if my sister's with her, that's a double fucking whammy, because my sister's one of those, I got to get a new shirt. So we go in the first dress shop. So the whole day we'll go through 20 dress shops. Where do we end up? Back in the first fucking shop she went in to start with to buy that shit. Like,
yeah, I mean,
bam.
yeah,
I'm honestly more surprised that there's Costco's in Australia.
Oh, they just came here, so it's not too bad. It's like normally here at our normal supermarket, like a rotisserie chicken is $12. Costco at $6.99, so that's a big deal. $6.99.
That's funny. But Lee, we've got the Texas Pro this weekend. I'll actually bring up the competitors list, and it's super stacked. I don't know if you've seen it, who's competing in this show, but you got obviously.
Let me ask him a question real quick. I was thinking this.
Yeah, go.
So we were just talking about the social media thing with him. How he said he leaves his bag and his phone in the bag. What would you say? So like, if you look back, more on your, in your prime in the era, who would have posted the most on social media, and who would have posted the least?
I probably would have posted the least because I was always shy. I even hated doing photo shoots in the gym. Like if the gym was busy, the photographers hated me because they'd be like, Lee, take your shirt off. I'm like, there's too many people. We have to do it later. And I'd argue with them. They'd be like, Lee, take your shirt off. I said, but we're shooting legs. Why do I need my shirt off doing legs for? I'd never wear a shirt. But who would be the most? I would say the way Milos posts now, maybe Milos, because he likes posting. He's always putting up pictures of himself still to this day. And I said to Milos once, why is it you always put up the pictures where you're standing like a foot closer to the camera so you look bigger than everyone in every picture?
We know your arms weren't that big, Milos. Come on now.
But even back then, even though we went a bit crazy in the end, I think Craig Titus would have been a bit of a media whore when it came to posting, but it's hard to say. I know it's hard to say because most of them back then, because like I said, all we had was the magazines, and then I think you had the odd occasion. I think when bodybuilding.com came out with their forums, and then there was Get Big, the forum on Get Big with all the experts on there talking shit about everyone. So yeah, even like I said, when cameras did finally come out, I never really took it to the gym because I always just found it distracting. I always understood like, okay, now people got to do it, but I'm like, if you're going to do it, maybe do it at the end of your workout, like off season. Okay, go hell leather, take photos or you want videos. But to me, I just found that if you're focusing on a show, even if it's just to take a video or something, it just takes your mind out of that mind-muscle connection, what you're focused on doing. So if I was around now competing, that I'd probably do my workout. Once the workout's done, then go back and quickly take a photo of the exercise rather than doing it in between. Because once I get into that rhythm of doing something, like I said, you can think you're going to stop and take a photo and do a quick video. Then next, well, fuck, it's been 10 minutes. It's like time goes by quick once you get on the phone. And I'll have friends that go, well, I take it for my music. I said, okay, so when you go to change a song and you see you got 6 messages there, do you ever look at them? They're like, yeah. I said, so say it's a shitty message from your missus or stuff, and then you get fucking pissed off, then your workout goes out the window, you're all pissed off. So I said, I won't even bother looking at it just for that reason, in case, it could be a shitty message. I said, look, if you're a heart surgeon on call, I understand, but if you're just a boxer, I said, you can say you're boxing like Tyson and he's sparring and doing stuff. I don't think you'd see Tyson in between rounds go check his phone and shit like that. So I think if you get that tunnel vision, look, I understand the whole social media, like I said, where people want content all the time. But I think if you're in that prep mode, it's sort of, I'd probably leave it in my bag while I'm getting ready for a show. Because like I said, any little distraction, when you start getting that diet brain happening, it's like, becomes a big distraction. And like I said, you see some people who are normally calm in the off season, and then when they get ready for a show, they see one negative comment, then it's, oh, fuck this.
We've seen that. But I wanted to ask you, Lee, about that Texas Pro, what you thought about it and what you think about some of the competitors that are competing. Obviously, we just had Andrew on the show. So now you can, if you want to say something bad about him, you can. But no.
Anything bad about it. The thing I like about the Texas Pro show is it's really open, because we've seen some of these people at their best, and then we've seen some of them when they're off. So to me, it's going to come down to really who hits it on the day. So like I said, there's a few good guys in there, and any of them, if they hit their peak on the day, could win it. But then also it comes down to what physique the judge is going to judge on that day, because it can be iffy sometimes where, the last show I had Kamal winning, but Akeem won. Yes, we know Akeem's bigger, but, going on the judging and stuff, I thought Kamal might have won that. So, even when you're at your best, you might not win. So that's what I like it about this. I know people are making predictions, but I never get into the prediction thing because I can't even fucking win the lotto. So I don't worry about picking bodybuilders. I can't pick numbers for that. So yeah, that's what I love about it. I said, if there's a few in there, like I said, they could come in and be pushing to win. And then the ones who we think are going to win, if they just come in that little bit off. I know it sounds like a cop-out answer, but I can't really say this one's going to win over that one, because on any given day, whoever comes in the best shape is going to take it. So if they're all in good shape, then like I said, it's going to come down to the judging. And sometimes I don't want to get political, but that can be fucked up.
Yeah, for sure. And there's obviously the controversy, like some people will say like, oh, Akeem won it because he needed to qualify for the Olympia and Kamal. And I don't think that should ever come into it. Whether it does or not, I have no clue. You know what I mean? Maybe in the old regime where it was like under Wayne D'Amelio, I think you'd probably definitely say yes.
Well, I watched that. I'm sure you did too. That I saw Nick did a thing on it. I like that one where Milos, was it Dennis's last podcast where he had Bob and Chris and Milos on, and Milos is just hammering Bob about different things, and Bob said that he changed this and changed that without asking the athletes, like the posing round, and he got rid of the symmetry round, and Milos is just drilling him without asking the athletes and stuff. So and then even when they said, well, why can't Clarita and who was it who just won the Kamal, or who was it was qualified? Why can't they do
Angel
the
Fries
open?
Calderon's qualified for open and 212.
Yeah, so why can't they do both? And Bob's like, well, the judging's different. And then it's like, when Milos is like, it's bodybuilding. 212 is bodybuilding, open's bodybuilding. And it's like, then Bob's like, if the show would go too long, it's like, not every 212 is going into it. I said, it's very rare that a 212 will win an open bodybuilding show. So if he's able to do it, why not? And then they discussed about go back to, because Bob said there's only one Mr. Olympia. Yes, there's other Olympia titles, the classic and this and that. There's only one true. So Milos is like, why not just make it exciting again and have, for the fans or whatever, have the 212 guy go up against the open guy for an overall Mr. Olympia to see who is the best bodybuilder. Because, I would have loved to see Flex Lewis go up against like a Rami or somebody or whoever just for a pose there. If nothing else, it's just great for the fans to see that, like when Arnold and Franco used to go at it. But after watching that one with Dennis and Bob and that, I came away more confused. And look, I'm already fucked up and confused, but after listening to Bob, I think I need medication now. Explain nothing. Explain nothing.
Yeah, it was. I was very interesting. I actually have done a video on it, but I haven't put it out yet. And basically, Bob talking about how he took away the judging from the posing round, which something I actually want to discuss on here as well. So we'll quickly touch on that, and then we'll get back into the Texas. I know you got to go any minute, Lee, but the posing round being taken out. Bob suggested that to go for B.
The symmetry round too, right?
Yeah,
I don't know if I don't know if he said he took it out or not. Based off that.
Yeah, he said he took the symmetry round out, and because that's where Milos said that sometimes he would make up points and that over the mass monsters, which was good. And I think the posing round should be left in it as long as the judges know. Listen, this is a posing round where you can have a criteria because other, like I think Nick said on his show, if there's like some sort of gymnastics or ice skating, they're all like different sort of choreographed stuff. But during that choreography, there's certain things they have to do, whether it be transitions and this and that. It's like the fitness round. The girls do a fitness routine, but there's certain things in it that they have to do to be judged on properly. So I'm sure if the judges followed some criteria to a posing round where, yes, okay, someone come out, shake their ass, that's entertaining, sure, but it has to be how you display the physique, you know, how you and do this. So I'm sure if they do it, they could, because I used to get annoyed back in the day when you see these great posers like Labrada, Paris, and all these guys, and then someone that just comes out who's big, he gets number one, and someone who's the best poser gets like 8th place in the posing round. So there are different rounds where you can make up ground, but yeah, Bob's reasoning, like I said, still doesn't make sense. So the video you did on Bob, does it just go for like 30 seconds? You go, here, I'll talk about Bob. Bob's retarded, end of show.
not quite, but I've got to say that I didn't agree. Like I think the posing, in my opinion, should be judged at least. Like you said, you could have a criteria where it's like, okay, 10% of it, you know, in your mind is based on entertainment. Where it doesn't, I don't mean it has to be pop blocking. It could be entertaining in terms of like a Lee Labrada routine or a slow type routine.
It's hard to separate like the physique and the routine.
Yeah,
like the physique is going to influence like how you judge the routine in that sense.
So Stan, do you think they should judge the posing routine? And if so, how do you think they should judge it? Should it be just part entertainment and mostly have the physiques displayed?
Well, I think that they should judge it for sure. I mean, if it's part of all the entertainment of bodybuilding. But how to judge it, that's where it's hard to like really like separate, like we're judging the physique or we're judging the performance on stage.
Yeah.
Because obviously a beautiful physique is going to like appeal better and translate better posing. So
yeah, because we saw it obviously.
Sorry?
It made an impact in the 2016 Arnold Classic, where when you take away the posing round, like Cedric McMillan would have won that Arnold Classic. So it, you know, the posing being judged actually did change a huge contest. So that changes, you know, Cedric's legacy and all that sort of stuff. So I do actually like the fact it can do that, because Kai Green obviously put a huge effort into the posing routine that year because he knew it was going to be judged. So maybe we would have seen a lesser routine from Kai Green, or, you know, maybe Cedric wouldn't have had the same routine as well because he still had a great routine. So I don't know. What do you think, Brett? Do you think it should be judged? And if so, how?
I do, but the hard part's gonna be figuring out like the percentage of it. You know what I mean? Like, what percent does the posing, you know, contribute to the overall score? And it needs to be less than, I think, obviously physique and like, you know, call outs and matchups. But that'd be the hard part, is finding the percentage and then working that in. But it definitely needs to be a issue that's addressed.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Are you right?
At the Arnold Classic, when they judged it at the Arnold Classic last year, like the ranking and the posing routine was kind of the same on what they already established with the judging.
Yeah.
Like there's people that had really great performance, they weren't placed ahead of others that didn't perform as well on their routine. So I don't know. That's where you need to really have criteria for the posing routine to be able to judge it and rank people in a different order.
Yeah, for sure. We've got Chris.
I think they still should bring back, I said, symmetry round. That should be judged for sure. And then, you know, Bob was going on too about why Kamal didn't win because the bigger guy. But then I've always asked, if that's okay, say you're going for the bigger guy, then I said, then why is there consistency like a heartbeat monitor where you'll have this big mass monster win, then you'll have the smaller symmetrical guy in second, a big mass monster in third, maybe one in fourth, and a smaller guy. It's like this. I said, if the way Bob's saying how it's judged, and it should be, you know, Akeem win, Quinton second. So it should be like, you know, mass, and then you get to the smaller guys. How can you go mass, small, or mass and small, mass? It's like, it's just inconsistent. So for him to say the bigger guy is always going to win because that's what judges are looking for is mass, then why do we get such a discrepancy in placings of mass, small, symmetrical? You know, it's like,
yeah, it's obviously not what that's all sort of about. But I just wanted to mention we've got Chris Cormier on here, and Lee, if you need to go, just obviously let us know as well. But we've got Chris Cormier here on the show, and you came in at a perfect time, Chris, because we're chatting about the posing round, and you're obviously passionate about posing.
See, Chris comes on and you kick me off. I have the story of my life. I'm always second the Chris.
Not like that, Lee. It's not like that.
The Chris. Thanks a lot.
You top liver, man. You top liver over there.
Yeah. How many times did the Ironman did I have to get second to Chris? And now I'm on a podcast.
Hey,
And
when
see
I
you
open
later,
that-
Lee. Chris is here.
Bodybuilding.
Oh man.
Aussie style.
Yeah, man. So what do you think about it? Do you think there should be like posing routines should be judged, and how should they be judged?
Me? What do I think?
Yeah.
I mean, we went through this, a couple of days ago, and
That's why we're talking about it. Yeah.
We're just
I get it,
we're
but
just talking about your show with Bob and Milos
Just
going off at Bob.
I mean, the thing is, though, I mean, it is a solid system. People are winning and losing as they should in the show. I just think it's just like it's not really the fix, really, at this point. I was at the show this past weekend, and what happened is, it's almost like this. How I would describe it, because I've seen Kamal pose for me and Chris, and at the gym. What's that? What is it? 140? What is that? What is it?
MI40.
Yeah, that gym. Yeah. So, I mean, he did some great stuff. I mean, especially for his age, for what he accomplished there, and it'll make you, if you love bodybuilding, you would love what he did and what he presented, right?
Yeah.
So you fall in love with that first of all. You just rock you to sleep with, I got all the boxes checked, to the best of his ability. You could pick apart anyone. You could pick apart Lee, you could pick apart myself, you could pick apart anyone on, okay, well, what about this or what about that? But he, so also being a hometown favorite, like I was there, man, I was going nuts watching this show. It was just amazing, from the women to the, everybody came there. I mean, it was so many competitors. But it's almost like he was Sugar Ray Leonard, and and then Akeem was like Clubber Lang. And it was like he was like popping, and then Clubber Lang just like it was like that. It wasn't a wrong
Mass.
It wasn't a wrong answer in this whole equation. It wasn't wrong to pick one or the other. But if you put them together, then it's gonna clash. The thing is, the judges must have had a hard time. Also, it wasn't a decisive thing, because at the end of the day, they brought out the top 3 at the night show first, and they always had the consolation people out there first.
Oh, I think we lost Chris.
But they brought out the top 3 first. Now everyone came into the night show a little bit more conditioned, a little bit fuller, as they always do. So now, the playing field got a little different. All the guys came a little different. It helped a lot for Akeem and a little fuller. It did that. I went into the night show thinking, okay, people spoke about it. We all spoke about it. And then lo and behold, they're close enough to where they're gonna rejudge this thing and give it like another look at the night show. And I think that's where, they start hitting the most musculars. Akeem did have striations in the quads. He did have, striations going across. Quentin didn't have as much as that going on. He still has very young muscle. But the 2 older guys had older, more striated, more popping things going on straight across the chest area. And it was easy enough to get those 2 by Quentin. So then we're looking at, okay, because I didn't know what they was going to do with the top 3 at all. Like I thought I knew, but then I started looking at more photos and stuff, and then I had no idea. I didn't want to judge it myself because it was just too hard. It was, like I said, it was no wrong answer to pick either one for first or second.
Yeah. And we've all that as well.
I'm going to have to dart out now and take my mum shopping.
Enjoy.
Chris, what sort of answer was that? Well, Chris is getting very political correct now.
I'm just telling you, man. I was there, dude. I had no, bro.
Where's that Chris Cormier that took my food from me at the firehouse? Where is that Chris gone?
That's funny.
Chris is running for president now. Oh, that's too.
No, I'm just telling you. I'm telling you what happened.
That's not the Chris I know.
My food at the fire.
That's the Chris I want to hear. That angry Chris. Well, I've got to go take my mum shopping, so I'll chat to you all
right.
later.
Enjoy, ladies.
All right.
We'll see you next week.
Nice chatting to you all.
Take care.
Bye.
Don't get lost in Costco.
Oh, those big muffins. I get too fat.
Me too.
You got to eat them. You got to eat them before they go stale.
You're walking around.
Pick of 12, Costco.
Awesome. Sweet. So let's get into Texas Pro. How long have you got, Chris?
Are you going, Chris, to Texas?
No, man. I've been going to a show every weekend for the past month.
Yeah, I saw you in Vegas 2 weeks ago.
Yeah, man. I'm gonna chill out a little bit. My birthday's coming up soon, so I'm gonna rest up for that one.
Are you still out are you out in Cali?
Yeah, I'm in San Diego.
Okay.
You coming out to train or what?
I will later this year. I'll hit you.
Oh yeah. Come get a couple in, see what's up.
Yeah, I ran into Chris at the USA Stadium and ran into you, Brett.
I saw you from
Yeah,
a
he was there. I
distance.
saw him. He didn't want to say hi to you.
But
I just saw his videos destroying legs at the Dragon's Lair.
yeah, I saw you smashing it there, Brett. Also, Brett, before we actually get into everything we're going to talk about, I wanted to actually bring up the latest photo of it. I think did you put it up of yourself?
Probably.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
You know, this one. Man, that's pretty outrageous. Obviously, you're guest posing next weekend. I think it is with Hunter Labrada. And man, you're looking ridiculous. This is by far the biggest you've ever been.
Yeah, I'm waking up above 280 now. That's the biggest I've been. So it's starting to fill up for sure. But no, honestly, overall, just more comfortable than I thought I would be. Not in the past, with snoring and shit. I'm not doing that. So it was, a steady off season, and now I want to lead it into a good prep. And I think I added the tissue I needed to, especially on the legs. So we're in a good spot for sure.
Awesome. What parts of your legs do you want to bring up?
Just overall everything, hamstrings and quads. I just need more outer sweep there. So worked on that a lot.
Yeah, for sure.
You already locked in the show, or you already decided on the show?
I'm the shoot for one. There's the last two is Spain and Romania. So I got about 12 weeks. I go to Denver this weekend for that guest post, and then I come back. I got about 12 weeks. So I think I can.
Okay.
I'm gonna just get into a prep and see how we proceed.
So you go to Europe?
Yeah.
Awesome. And when are you competing, Stan? Because obviously you've got you're competing. I think I remember seeing physique updates from you, but I can't remember what week you're competing.
Yeah, doing the Legion normally. Like that's what I'm aiming for right now in 9 weeks.
That's right.
And then I would like to go to Brazil like months after. They have a show over there too.
What's the show in Brazil?
It's a muscle contest. It's an open bodybuilding show.
Oh, awesome.
I've just never been to Brazil.
What is it?
It's an open bodybuilding show in Brazil.
Okay.
Yeah, they've been having a few.
Oh yeah. What's the date on that?
It's like November 5th, actually. Date Sean passed.
Man, you're looking good. Like, obviously, you've come up from men's physique, going to classic physique, and then now, obviously, in open pro. Do you do 212 as well?
No, I didn't do 212 because it was too close to my weight in classic anyway, and I was already above that.
Yeah, so he skipped over one, but obviously, like you and
Chris was checking out my weight when I was doing the weigh-ins at the Olympia. I was like, nah, you're not gonna make it.
But yeah, so obviously you've come a long way, man. That's pretty crazy. So
Thank you.
yeah. So what's your goals for this year in terms of like you're wanting to, you know, aim for obviously like some sort of like Olympia qualification, or like what's the main goal?
Yeah. No, definitely I want to go back to the Olympia stage and try that in open bodybuilding now. Yeah.
Yeah, killer.
It's been a minute now. It's been 3 years without, like, last time was 2019 for me.
Yeah, wow. Yeah, because I remember a friend of mine, Michael Galley, he was I think he went over there, and I think it might have been when Charles Lothian shot with you and Sean Roden, I think, when he was prepping for the Olympia, and he got to see you, and he said he's like, oh, I asked him, how does Sean look? And he goes, yeah, Sean looks good, because you know how he never looks crazy impressive, you know, like 5 weeks out or 4 weeks out of a show, and this was before.
Yeah, Sean transformed the last week, like he was last week most changes. It was crazy.
Yeah, I remember seeing photos of him in the prep as well. I'm like, yeah, like, you know, obviously he looks great, but compared to like, you know, the top guys like the Phil Heaths and all that sort of stuff, you're like, oh, we won't beat Phil. And he came in, obviously shocked the world. And Mick said to me, he said, yeah, he looks good, you know, like not too crazy. And he said, I was most impressed with Stanimal. Like, he looks freaking crazy. Like, you were shredded to the bone. He said, you're way harder than Sean and all this sort of stuff. And Sean goes and wins the Open Mr. Olympia. And you obviously did well as well. But yeah, he just must have transformed like crazy. So but yeah, man, I can't wait to see you get back up there. And obviously Brett's competing end of the year, and it's Martin's obviously from a podcast as well is competing this weekend. And may as well get into that and chat a little bit about the Texas Pro. Do you have time to chat, Chris?
I was about to get my beard cut.
Oh, that's all good, man.
But I'll and then I have a client coming
Chris,
up.
We had Andrew Jack on here a little bit ago. What do you think about him?
Who?
He still got some posing techniques he needs to work on. Just presenting his body more. You know, and I told him, I said, okay, you know, we all get it that you're very strong, but I told him, I said, you need to now start putting that strength directly into the muscles and not be utilizing joints and all that stuff when you're trying to press a weight or whatever. I said, I did the whole strength thing, like we could see you got a powerful physique and everything, but I think you just need to start detailing your body out and understanding where you're trying to pressure your body or your muscles at, and getting more connected with yourself. You need more connection, I thought.
Yeah.
He did a back double bicep, and he was still like both his traps are still pinching in when it needs to be like spread, you know. And he did a terrible last spread at the prejudging, but he did a better one at the night show. And he looked better at the night show. I just think you know, it just didn't hit the mark a little bit too flat at the prejudging.
Are you talking about Quinton or are you talking about Andrew Jack?
Quinton.
Andrew Jack.
Really?
Oh, I'm sorry. I thought you were talking about Mackey at the show.
Oh,
I think about Andrew Jack. Sorry, brother. Take that back. Erase that. Hey, Andrew Jack, man. He seems like you know, getting his posing down better and better. I mean, he's very, very, very. He's an amazing athlete, dude, and you know, he bring those a little bit more detail in the hamstring and stuff. And I just hope that you know, right now it's just about, he has a lot of size. You don't have to keep trying to overdo the size, keep that waist tight. But he's remarkable. He's going to be very hard to beat for anybody. I like the muscularity he has, inch by inch on each muscle group. I like that. Little cuts within the cuts type of look is what I'm saying.
Yeah, he's extremely really, really impressive.
Yeah, I don't know. I never seen him in person, but that's what I could tell on video.
Well, he was in Vegas. I think he left today, but we saw him at the gym Saturday, I think, with Danny Hester. We were all there. He's just super round, big. He just takes a lot of space, like bicep splits, everything.
And he's pretty tall, right?
Yeah, and he got big calves, big quads, like everything. Nothing's missing. He's 6'2". Yeah.
Yeah, I like that, man. He's pretty remarkable. I gotta say that. Anybody don't think so, they just lying to themselves.
Where do you think he can sort of fit in, Chris, at like a Mr. Olympia? So just say he qualified this year. Obviously, it's hard to say because you haven't seen next to the top names.
Bro, he has a physique. He has a physique like back in when we were doing it in the 90s. If you were remarkable like that, you can shoot right up there and challenge for the title. You know?
I mean, it is
right
sort of
up there
at
challenge.
the top now. Sorry, I cut you off, man. What were you saying?
I think
Is
he's
that me?
frozen.
Oh, he's right there.
Shoot up there and shoot right for the title.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
No, I
I'm
mean,
doing that.
It's crazy.
So I think he could fight right straight forward, just like Flex did, just like Kevin did. You know, from a rookie status straight up to the top of the echelon of the sport.
Yeah, for sure. I think this one just came out. This one was apparently 18 days out, this video here. So he's pretty damn impressive. And I'm just looking forward to seeing how big it looks next to guys. You know, I think he's definitely has more size.
Oh, he's big. He's a big body up there already. So
Gonna be 280.
like I say,
yeah,
He's
I don't know how much he weighs, but he looks, and that ab and thigh pose, I think that's gonna instantly be one of the better ones in the IFBB Pro League. Like it's hard to imagine much better than that.
He's been bodybuilding for like a couple years, so he's like every time, because he come train with Flex here in Vegas. Every time I see him, he just evolves super fast. It's really impressive.
Yeah, for sure. Very much looking forward to seeing him this weekend and seeing how it plays out. But Chris, if you got to get going, we'll let you go and get your beer cut, see your clients and all that stuff. But appreciate you coming on.
Thanks a lot.
All right, Chris.
We'll do it again sometime.
Yeah,
all right, guys. I see you, Brent, man. You're doing a great job, guys. Keep doing your thing, man. You totally transformed into a whole nother body, which is pretty amazing at these days. So good job.
Hell yeah, bro. We'll talk soon.
All right, brother. Later.
All right. Take care, Chris. Bye. All right. Let's finally get into this Texas Pro. That was cool. We've had some good guests on it in one episode. So that was pretty cool. So let's get into this. So let's discuss some of these names that are doing Texas. This Jafet Clarifant, have you seen him? He's actually, I think that's the guy who's Big Bad Bundy, if you've heard of him. He's,
is it? That's his name?
I'm pretty sure. Yeah. I think so. Anyway, I hope I'm right on that because I'll look like an idiot if I'm wrong.
I think he's from Baltimore. I think you're right. He is from Baltimore. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
I would have never known that was his name though.
Yeah, I know. Do you know what's so funny, man? I see I even see
Bundy must be his nickname, and yeah, his last name's Chur.
Yeah. And man, like even Nick Strength and Power, like we call like these guys that are coming out, like we call Marcelo, whatever his name is, I'm even forgetting now. We call him Horse MD. Like his nickname is just his Instagram name, like it just becomes that. Yeah. Even like Urs, his nickname Miracle Bear. Like you can just have your Instagram name, you can give yourself your own nickname. But yeah, he's competing in the show this weekend, and man, he's impressive. Like he is a tall dude. And I saw this update come out a while ago. I don't know how old this one is, 3 weeks. And he's tall and yeah, he's just an impressive physique. Like I think he's going sort of a little bit underrated. What do you think, Stan, about Jafet or Big Bad Bundy?
Yeah, I think I've seen like a video of him or a picture recently, but it is a different physique. Yeah, he's good, very thick.
Yeah, really, really thick. Brett, what's your thoughts? Do you think he can make an impact in this show? Because no one's really talking about him too much, at least from what I've heard.
I said this last year. I think he did Tampa last year. I think it was. And like, I kind of picked him as a dark horse. I mean, I really like his physique. It's a lot of hard-earned muscle. He did heavy-ass squats, heavy deadlifts. So it's, that thick, dense muscle. He'll just kind of, especially with this lineup, especially with Kamal up there, we've seen Marty's peeled. So it's going to come down to his conditioning 100%, which it always does. Back when I watched, Nick Walker beat him to go pro at North Americans, and it was because Nick Walker was more conditioned, So it's and at that time, Bundy he was bigger, he's obviously taller, weighed more, a little bit more muscle, maybe not anymore, but so it matters who his coach is, and it matters how they bring it home. So I'm really excited to see him on stage because it's been a year. He looks good there.
That's 4 weeks out. Bob looks, or maybe even 5 weeks out, because it says that this was posted 4 weeks ago. So he looks pretty damn lean there. So
And he rocks the fanny pack, you know?
Yeah, exactly. So he's gone old school. Hey Stan, have you worn a fanny pack? I swear I've seen you in one.
The fanny pack, yeah, not really on around my waist, no.
Okay, just over shoulder.
I would just like wear it across.
Yeah.
He's got multiple fanny packs. Look at he's got different color ones and everything.
Yeah, he does.
What?
Yellow.
Oh yeah, he's got a collection.
Yeah, I've seen like 4. He's wearing them in every one, eh?
It's like a dick guard or something. He's like wants to cover his
He might have a Bo Lewis.
Some cover, you got a junk cover.
Yeah, he has so many of them. Anyway, I think he'll do pretty damn well. I'm impressed with him, and he's sort of going under the radar. So I think he's going to probably grow a lot in popularity if he does well in this show. Another guy on the list, Eddie Brecamontes, he did really well. I think he came 5th or 6th at the Tampa, which was a really deep lineup. So I just want to give him a shout out. I don't know if he'll factor in the top positions in this one, but I just wanted to say I was pretty impressed overall because he wasn't a guy that anyone was really factoring into that tough lineup. So what do you think, Brett? Do you think he can sort of crack a top 5 here, or do you think that the lineup sort of got maybe a little bit tougher?
He worked with Jansen this prep, and their goal was to, change his physique, bring his waist down, bring him absolutely peeled, and they did that. I think
best he ever looked, I think.
Look at that. Yeah, that's what I mean. Like he looked like a different bodybuilder up there. He's always had a lot of muscle, but now his waist was down. He was in shape. It was his best look. Unfortunately, I think, with this lineup and who's here and, the depth of it, I don't think he'll be in that top 5, but like good for him to, continuing to better himself here. He should have entered one of these shows earlier in the year. He would have been in that top running,
Yeah, of course. I feel bad for some of these guys doing this show because like the top 3 from the weekend just gone, I think they all would have won a lot of those shows, if not potentially all of those shows earlier in the year. And taking nothing away from those guys because they showed up and won the shows. They were the best guys there out of big lineups as well. Well, some of them were big lineups, some of them weren't. But so it's no slight on them. But yeah, some of these guys, but especially 1 to 3 at the last show, like were in a way a little bit unlucky. But I think all of them got more publicity as well because it was such a good lineup. So anyway, Stan, what do you think about Eddie? Do you think he can sort of like place top 5 just based on conditioning if you guys miss it?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, I've competed with him before. He's really like impressive, like his size, his whole structure. And I think he looks like a little bit on the flatter end here on those videos. So on the pictures from the show, I think maybe it's because he's trying to come down, really like bringing the conditioning. So maybe like if this week he can get some rest and a little more food, he can. But I think, yeah, he's definitely a threat for the top 5 for this show.
Yeah, cool. We'll get back to the list. We've got obviously Kamal El-Gagni, who looked phenomenal last weekend. And Stan, I'll ask you first. What do you think of Kamal last weekend, and do you think he should have won the Tampa Pro?
I mean, I think you could make an argument for either of them to win. Like, the Legion, when Sean Clarida won, we could have an argument for Regan to win, or even, I know, for Regan probably. But it's just, I think you need to be there to really see like who looks the best. I've heard a lot of things that they all came better at finals. Like I think Chris was explaining before, and I played in favor of Hakeem a lot. But I mean, it's open bodybuilding at the end of the day. So if you look great, you're complete, you're super conditioned, you got bigger guys next to you, he's gonna overpower your physique. And Hakeem is one of those guys, really extremely like mass monster. So for me, I mean, you can make an argument for both to win, but I don't think there was anything like a rub or anything like that.
Yeah. I think it's one of those things where it was probably close, but yeah, obviously more people probably at the venue and probably on the internet probably lean towards Kamal. I put a poll up and it was like 61% of people, after prejudging thought Kamal should win, and then it was like 21% was Hakeem and 16 or 17 or 18%, whatever it was for Quinton. So it was obviously pretty split because normally, you'd put a thing up after prejudging on the average show and probably, 80% of people will be saying one guy and going that way. So obviously it was, there was some certain amount of closeness to it. But what do you think, Brett? Do you think that Kamal deserved the win in Tampa?
I mean, again, like Chris said, it was probably watching there, you could go either way. One thing I do want to say is I don't think Hakeem's conditioning, you can see it as much on what we do on the internet. You do via pictures, videos from far away. I would have liked to be up there on the judges table to see, how conditioned Keem truly is, because it is that really dark skin. You don't see that, it doesn't transpire as much in the pictures, so we don't know how truly conditioned he was. It must have been enough from the judges. He obviously was up there and close enough. So it's hard to say. Plus, you got to factor in the size. Still has a great waist. It was in, like I heard, he came back at finals even better. So it was a close call. I had, just because of like the backside, I kind of had a Kamal winning. But like I said, I can see it go either way here. It was a good win for Keem, especially what he had to battle through with everything. And, he just seems to keep getting better for the Olympia, and it's scary if he does.
Man, I just interviewed Akeem right before I interviewed Quentin, 6 hours ago or whatever it was. And man, Akeem, he went through some stuff, man, with his prep. Like, he totaled his car 4 weeks into his prep, and he still doesn't have the full feeling back in his right foot. So the fact that he's able to train legs and still, look that good. And I think his legs were sort of like just close to the best they've ever looked. And he's only able to squat, get up to, I think it was 315 pounds or something like that, he said. And he only just got back to that during the prep. So I'm sort of amazed he looked as good as he did, to be honest, and obviously won this show against some pretty stiff competition. So I was sort of blown away when he told me all the stuff he went through in that prep. So he's definitely a warrior, and he thought about pulling out. So obviously he'd be pretty happy now that he didn't end up pulling out. But I do feel bad for him. He said to me, he's like the most hated man on the internet at the moment. So obviously he's feeling that feedback from people that thought Kamal or Quentin should have won.
But every time, like Brett mentioned, like I've seen Akeem in person, he's got such a dark skin that you don't really see on pictures and videos how conditioned he is. I mean, I always see him with crazy details on his side legs, but this is back people are talking about. So even if you lose those shots to Kamal, like the size and the conditioning on the other poses, I think is enough for him to win.
Yeah, for sure. Let's get back to the Texas Pro. We've also got Phil Plaha, who's competing this weekend. We've sort of spoken about him, I think, on the last episode, but he came in pretty good condition, I think, in Tampa. I don't think it was his all-time best. Obviously, Phil's an older dude. I can't remember his exact age, but he's not quite at Kamal's age, but I don't think he's a huge amount off that. So the fact that he's able to look so good at his age.
I think he's older, huh?
What's that?
He's younger than Kim. I think he's like 47, 48.
Yeah. I think he's around that 47, 48 sort of age. I don't want to say older because it becomes insulting. So we'll go with that. Got him. Then I'm seeing here I don't know if this is a mistake or not, but Nathan Epler is actually in the open bodybuilding this weekend. Now, he came third last weekend in the Tampa in the 212, obviously after finishing fifth at last year's 212 Olympia. So he would have been hoping for maybe a little bit better than that, getting beaten by Keon and Kerif Badger, who looked absolutely incredible. But if he is jumping in the open, Brett, do you think this is a good move in this show? Because I would say probably doing the 212 again would have been the best move.
I honestly think this is just a typo. I'm pretty sure he's doing 12. I don't think he jumped into the open, especially when you're getting that whole lineup pretty much just transferring over here. He already just got third in the 212. Keon's out, so it's probably going to come down to him and Kerith in the 212. And and like coming from his updates, it sounds like he's dropping water and stuff. So I think that I think it's just a typo on their end for putting it like that.
Surely, yeah, I'd say so. Normally that gets sorted out during a week anyway. There's been one update, but perhaps that will be updated soon. Moving on, Quentin Wright obviously competed last weekend, came third. I interviewed Quentin. I think that he thinks he can improve on his look from the Tampa show. And he seems pretty confident as well. Like, honestly, speaking to him, he sounds confident about, what's in store for sort of this weekend and obviously going forward in the future. But Brett, I'll go to you first. What do you think about Quentin? And do you think that he has the opportunity to potentially win this show? Because there's a guy like Andrew Jack in this lineup who he might compare well with, somewhat.
Yeah, I mean, last week I said I was excited to see him, and I had him in that top three. I think I had him second, and he showed out. He showed up. He brought the fullness in the legs. The chest, arms are big, waist small, just a big structure. I think we just see that he needs more back. We kind of knew that going into the show. We never saw any back updates. It's funny, you can kind of tell, when people don't post anything from the rear, that that's gonna, sometimes will show something on stage. So it's just time, man. Everyone's saying it, but it's just time until he starts kicking everybody's ass. And once he fills out that backside, so he's right there. He definitely will be in the running this week, especially with, I think, Andrew being there. I think it's just going to help him even because he compares so well to Andrew. So it might end up being, and who knows, it might end up being him versus Andrew. Obviously, Kamal's going to be there somewhere, but maybe edge him out this week. So I was impressed with Quentin. I think it's a really good call for him to go into this show again, and especially if he thinks he's going to be a little bit better or sharper, and he's going to be in that. I think I have him in that top 3 for sure. Yeah,
and the way I'd like bodybuilding to be judged is like this sort of physique gets a bit of a one up on some other physiques because it is such a aesthetic physique. It is just like we haven't seen sort of this sort of insanity in terms of like shape since like like the Flex Wheeler sort of days and stuff. Well, I can't really remember anyone to be like this sort of shape. But obviously, like some people have said, and he even said it when I interviewed him as well, he needs to improve the hardness on his upper body. His legs sort of, from a front are definitely there now in terms of, being a really good level of conditioning, but he just needs to get a bit more hardness, and he thinks that will obviously help him a lot. And, he said he was actually happy with the progress on his back as well, which I think was really, really good. But like you said, he's got such a big frame and that he's got so much to fill out. Stan, what's your thoughts on Quentin, and how do you think he can do this weekend?
I love his physique, and that's what I was gonna say. Like his back is, is really, really improved already. Like those shots are not weak. I think to be like a top Olympia contender, he's gonna still progress, and he's still like fairly young. I think he's like 27 or something like that.
Yeah, 26, 27, something like that.
Yeah, and he's a great guy, and amazing physique. I mean, for me, it's gonna be fun to see them too, like him and Andrew going. Hopefully, like I don't know, I don't want to say hopefully, but having them like next to each other really compare. Like I think it's 6'1", Andrew is 6'2", and see how they compare with each other. It's gonna be pretty exciting to watch.
For sure, absolutely. And another guy competing that wasn't there at the Tampa Pro is Steve Kuklo.
Oh yeah, another tall guy. That's
yeah, and everyone forgets that Steve's tall because he is so thick. Like he's just such a thick dude. But I always thought he was like 5'9" or 5'8", just that sort of standard bodybuilder height of the most common sort of. But then I found out he was like 6 foot or maybe even taller or something. So, which sort of surprised me.
He's 5'11" or 6. Yeah.
I don't know if this is a recent physique update. It's 5 days ago. Okay, cool. So he's obviously looking pretty enormous. I mean, he looks in pretty good condition as well. Obviously, it's his home show. He wanted that win last year, but Ian Valliere beat him out. So you sort of factor him in as maybe like, they would be very, very close, I believe, like at an Olympia level. So Steve's probably, where the Olympia is at now, where his physique is maybe, was at, I guess, last year, you'd have to say he's probably like sort of like a 8th place Mr. Olympia, 7th place Mr. Olympia. What do you think, Stan? How do you think Steve will do this weekend? Do you think he should be the favorite, or do you think like an Andrew Jack or someone with his like crazy physique update should be the favorite?
It's really hard to say, but that's what to me is going to be really fun. I mean, a lot of people, I think, forgot that he competed at the Arnold Classic. No, this year he didn't do the earlier this year. Yeah, right. I think like a lot of people forgot. They've been mentioning like he hasn't competed since last year, but he did the Arnold, and it was probably his best conditioning. He was tighter, smaller, but so maybe this time, bringing that conditioning with a little more fullness. Again, it's a big structure, big guy. He's going to compare really well next to Quinton and Andrew, and that's also like going to allow us to really like gauge Andrew, and I mean Andrew's size compared to like the biggest guys in the league. So
yeah, and I always wonder with Steve, like, because he never has like really deep separation.
No.
He's obviously come in like really good condition his last couple of shows, in my opinion anyway, but it just seems like he has to get in such sharp condition, but he almost has the dry look because he has to sort of make up for that sort of little bit of a lack in separation. So I feel like it's sort of rough for him in that way. I don't know, like Brett, do you think there's anything he can do to actually improve his separation, like in terms of massage or anything like that? Or do you think it's sort of what he's got? Because I'm sure he's doing everything he can to sort of improve it, I guess.
I don't see much changes. Honestly, Steve has been Steve the last few years. I think he's kind of been very consistent in his look, and which is a good, like I said, top 3 at the Arnold. But I think he's just going to be what we've seen before at this show, which is obviously could be enough as well. But I don't think we're going to see any like new kind of look, any new separation. I think we're going to see this right here. And like I said, it's a very good physique. We'll just see how it pans out with some of these genetic freaks as well.
Yeah. Do you know who's starting to look like Steve Kuklo, except a shorter version, is Brian Balzano. Do you know much about him, Brett?
Yeah, for sure. I can see it. Brian's probably got bigger legs. Brian's legs are huge. He's also short. He's also shorter though too. Yeah,
they're mental lately. So obviously that'd be cool to see them do that same pose. So I've seen heaps of poses of Brian Balzano doing that one. Just obviously Brian has those like insane glutes, which I think Brian Balzano is going to be crazy, and well, he's crazy now, but obviously in a few years' time, I think he's got more room in his physique to just explode. But anyway, getting back to Steve, yeah, I think that he's obviously a contender for the win here. Like he probably should be the favorite. Thinking about who's in there, maybe along with like a Kamal, maybe along with an Andrew Jack. There's really, I mean, no matter what, it's going to be like, and then you got Quinton as well, and then you got a whole bunch of other guys. So it is such a stacked lineup, and it's going to be very interesting to see who comes out on top. And they're obviously going to get a good one up going into the Olympia as well, beating such quality lineup. So super excited to see how Steve does in this show. Moving down the list, we've obviously got our man Martin Fitzwater from a podcast, so he's going to be, man, he's been putting out a lot of content on YouTube, and I saw you put out a video as well, training with Martin on your YouTube channel, Brett. So I encourage people to go check that out because it's a different perspective, and you give a bit, like maybe a little bit more info during a workout. But then with Martin, you obviously get to see Branch looking at him and see Branch's comments as well. So I suggest everyone check out both your guys' videos on that. I think I asked you how it was training with Martin too, and having a look at him and all that sort of stuff. But obviously you've seen firsthand how Martin looks, Brett. So what do you think about Martin, and how he sort of matches up with some of his lineup? Because he's got a different look to some of these really tall guys.
Yeah, so I mean, I saw Martin, before he went pro, couple shows as an amateur, all the way up into his pro debut. And I will say this is the best he's ever looked. Branch really drilled him with the conditioning part, and they brought everything in, and he's just more complete this year. He's someone that's not missing a body part, head to toe. He's not missing anything. There's no gaps. He's kind of that perfect height, 5'7" to 5'8", where the muscle fills all the gaps. And so he's going to be dangerous, man. I told him that he can't get caught up too much in the excitement and stuff. He just needs to go out there and do his job, stay in his zone, and he's going to do well. It's going to be hard, man. This is, as we go over these names, bro, this is a tough lineup. It's going to be a fun show to see. But he's focused. He's the best. Like I said, he's the best I've ever seen of him. And it's going to be a battle up there. So like Lee said earlier, I think it's going to come down to who peaks the best. I think everybody is within like a couple percentage of each other. Maybe some are, on any other, on a normal day, they might be better, but if someone just comes in fully peaked, I think they can take it. So this is going to be a fucking dogfight.
Man, honestly, like if we see Andrew Jack, come in a little bit off, if we see, Quinton sort of comes in at the same, or maybe a touch worse, you never know, things can happen. Kamal, obviously we know he's going to be good. So I think Kamal, I just can't wait to see Martin stand next to Kamal. Like obviously like Kamal has just such crazy dense muscle, but for Martin's age, I think his muscle, and probably just training with Branch and just training in an absolute insane style, like with that, just, who knows how it is for the longevity of your joints and all that sort of stuff. But in the short term, definitely it makes a physique look pretty crazy. And I think that his physique has completely transformed from last year. Like even seeing the updates leading up, it was like, yeah, that was impressive last year, but you never saw this level of condition and density and completeness to his physique. Like that looks crazy to me. But yeah, so I'm super, super excited to see how Martin looks, especially when he's fully carved up, because he's a little bit like you, Brett, obviously with a fast metabolism, and you can burn through calories pretty quick. And he says he has a few low days and feels pretty damn flat, but even on those updates, he still looks damn impressive as well. So I'm super, super excited to see how Martin looks. But Stan, what do you think about Martin? Because obviously, you have an outside perspective of him, and you've obviously seen these updates. Where do you think he can factor in? Do you think he can sort of challenge some of these taller guys' names and guys like Kamal?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, like I saw him last year. We competed together at Legion, and so he was also in Vegas for a little bit. And like I think he did 2 shows last year, and he placed top 5 at both, I believe. And conditioning wasn't like his strengths. And apparently, like right now, he's bringing another level of conditioning, and he made a lot of progress on his physique. I think he's looking very, very round, and you start to get that graininess a little bit too. So I'm excited to see the final product on stage. How much more conditioning he can be with his added size, and I think he's going to be right in the mix, top 5. I should not be too much of a problem for him, I think. And he's going to compare well next to Kamal, like a shorter guy. But I think he's not going to be like overshadowed too much by the bigger guys there, because he's got really that size. When the bigger guys we have over there competing, Andrew, Quinton, maybe even Steve, are not like, Steve is more like a massive type, but if he comes really conditioned, you lose a little bit of that, size factor. So I think it's going to be interesting to see him in the mix. It's like so many different physiques, and he's going to be definitely fighting for the top, I believe.
Yeah, this is going to be a hard show to pick. It's like going to be real hard.
Yeah. I mean, Brett, go anywhere pretty much.
Yeah, exactly. Like Brett, like seeing the video as well, the day he was training with you, do you know if that was after some low days, or like where he was at in terms of his diet with that?
Yeah, no, I think he did a high day before that, but he was on a low day when we trained. No, man, he just looks like this. He's round a lot, even on his low days. He's got, I call it black boy muscle, where he's bubbly all the time.
Yeah.
He can do it, man. Like I said, for him, but it's all, like you said, the thing about the food thing, and he has to be an eater like me when it comes to filling up. And like, people think that's awesome and stuff, you gotta eat so much, but it can also be a curse, especially for peaking. And Stan probably knows this. Like, the more food involved, the more things can go wrong. You know what I mean? So it's like, should we load with 800 grams of carbs or like 1200? At what point does it tip over? So it's like, it's just about him and Branch nailing it on the head here. And hopefully they set themselves up with trial and error these last couple of weeks of like, low, low, high into the show. That's just going to be like a normal week. So it's going to be tough, because I've seen him, like he's tough to peak, like, so I really hope they nail on the head here, because he has the physique to do it right now, but just mattering on how they do it.
Yeah, absolutely.
But I don't know if you have the same issue too, but like oftentimes you start eating more carbs, and then it keeps flattening you out instead of filling you up. So you have to eat more and more, add more fats. And it's like, a lot of the stomach too. So one meal, a little too much fat, and you like stop like having an issue with your digestion, and while you're drying out at the same time. So that doesn't help.
Yeah.
So I think, I honestly think Kamal's somebody, I think Kamal's like a Dexter, that they've been doing it so long. They got it so figured out that Kamal's going to look exactly the same as he did last week. He's going to look exactly the same. He's going to be on the money. He's going to be crisp. His skin, what people don't factor is Kamal's skin is really, really nice. So you can see every single line. Like, his back looked like piano strings, man. It was just everywhere. And it's like, have you ever seen Kamal not peak to 95 to 100%? It's because he's been doing it for so long. And honestly, I don't know. He probably can't have that much food. You know what I mean? Like, loading up for the show is probably pretty minimal for him, because they got it down to a science with Chris, probably, that like they just know what to do. So he, if you ever need to put money on anybody, it's going to be somebody like Kamal, because he's going to be 100%. But that also doesn't factor in that these other big guys, they can nail it too.
Even his track record is insane. I think he turned pro at 47 in the Pro League. Then his first pro show was the Arnold Classic 2017 or 18. He won that, went to the Olympia, and not a lot of people know, but he was, so I know because I was working with Chris also at the time, but his Achilles tendon popped in the room 3 days out. And he didn't say anything. Went on stage, posed, do the whole thing, just took a bunch of ibuprofen. And he took like second or third that year. The next year came back, won the title. That's like, and since then he's in the top 3 at the Olympia. Like,
what did he do? What did you say he did 3 days out?
He tore his Achilles tendon.
Oh yeah, that's right. I heard that. Yeah,
how big his calf was?
Sorry?
You remember how big his calf was on stage?
Yeah.
It looked like a softball, because he like tore his Achilles and he still competed. I remember that. Yeah.
Yeah, but he didn't say it before, so people were. I don't think people knew when he was on stage that he had that.
No, they didn't.
Did anyone think that was like a bad shot? Because that's what it always goes to, regardless if it's an injury or not.
Well, on the ankle, it's
I hope they don't think he was injecting his calves, but probably there's a lot of idiots up here.
Yeah, I'm sure. You always get the comments, no matter like, I mean, someone could break their finger and their fingers.
Kind of like how Keon has synthol shoulders, but all it was a bad shot, like we all knew exactly. That. It's like, oh my God.
in my video as well, because I obviously we know Keon and stuff, and we like Keon and all that. If I don't mention it, man, I will be slaughtered. So I just mentioned that, I said it's just that, because literally people were saying in the comments, synthol. I saw in other videos, they're saying, oh, he's got synthol on his shoulders. I'm like, no, he wouldn't have just jabbed synthol on his shoulders in the past couple of days. He's not an idiot. So
you got a huge round shoulder.
Yeah.
It's like how do you treat people start talking synthol is, it's probably just scar tissue or something. It's definitely not,
Yeah. With Hardy, I don't think, I don't know. I've heard different rumors and stuff, but who knows? But anyone can make that up and spread it. But I don't think that he's just pumping his shoulders full of synthol and he still keeps doing it. I mean, we even saw I did a video and we saw the messages, that from Hani Rambod in their group chat and saying like, just stop shooting your shoulders, So it was obviously just sounds like it's from shots. I don't think he's telling him to shoot his shoulders full of synthol. It's ridiculous. Yeah. But moving down, we saw Roman Fritz compete last weekend. I wanted to mention him. He obviously sounded pretty let down by his appearance, and I think for me it was just his upper body. His legs look great. I don't know if you guys saw too much of that, but I did feel bad for Roman, like with his placing, and he sounded pretty down about it and saying that he literally said, he goes, well, I guess I'm a shit bodybuilder, and sounded pretty down about it. But he's not a shit bodybuilder. He's placed fourth in shows before and stuff like that. And what do you think, Brett? Obviously it was probably just more just a size on the upper body sort of thing that he needed. Maybe he just dieted it away. I don't know.
I didn't really ever see any stage shots because he wasn't that's what sucks is when you on these shows, you only see like on the internet, you only see the first call out. So like I didn't go and search anything, but based on what what everyone was saying, it sounded like his upper body was very either flat or just overall down. That could be with age. I don't know his age, but he might be getting up there, so it's gonna be a little bit harder. But over dieting, who knows? I know he does all his own stuff, and whenever you do that, that's really tough, man. Whenever he likes to do it, and he's gone through a lot of coaches, but he likes to coach himself. And I think that's kind of really, really hard, especially those last 4 weeks, because you start making decisions that with your own eyes that might not be right. So who knows what went there? Obviously you can't put on 15 pounds of muscle in a week. So I expect to kind of be the same, and hopefully he's just enjoying this trip out here and has fun with this weekend.
Yeah. So this was 16 weeks ago, this video. And while like you'd still say, yeah, okay, upper body needs to come up, I still think that he must have dieted a little bit of this away, because this, while he needs more muscle here and stuff,
Well, his arms and shoulders look good here. Like,
yeah, exactly. That's what I'm saying.
From the 1 or 2 shots I saw on stage, it was just like his upper body just like, disappeared.
Yeah. So hopefully he's able to, correct it. I think there was a bit of a peaking issue there as well, just by the updates, and we've seen update videos and photos, different locations. I don't think they're all filtered, it's not. And also his conditioning probably looked better on stage, honestly. Like I saw a back double bicep, and while his upper body was down a bit, his glutes and hams, man, were just etched out like crazy. So he was definitely in great condition.
I believe he was probably over dieted. Like he looked a little stringy a little bit, when you really deplete and you pull the water and you just don't have that pop. So I believe in week he can change quite a bit, but I don't know. It looks like a little bit loose skin. I don't know. Maybe it's just because he was holding more body weight before or something. But yeah. I believe it's just a little fullness missing. So maybe in 1 week he can look, bigger. Not to the point to like be in the top 2 or winning the show, but I don't know. I think he can
at least improve on his last week's appearance.
Mm-hmm.
Sure. But yeah, Roman's a nice guy. I've messaged him before, and I actually met, it's funny, man. I actually met Roman. I don't know if I mentioned this on the show before or not, Brett. Pull me up if I have. But I met Roman, it was back in 2014 at the Olympia. And I forgot that I actually interviewed him there, and he remembered it. Like I messaged him and I said, and he basically, said, yeah, I remember that. He's like, because you interviewed me. I went, oh yeah, I did too. So it's funny to remember back all the way back to 2014. I think 2014, whatever year that Kai Green flicked his hair into Phil Heath's face, it was that year. And he was just in the expo, and I was a bodybuilding fan, so I knew of him through RX Muscle and all that sort of stuff. So that was sort of cool. So who else is in this lineup? We've got Joe Mackey, who competed last weekend, and I think he probably exceeded most people's expectations. Like we actually looked at the pre-contest photos, and I think he actually looked better on stage. So Milos obviously peaked him pretty damn well. What do you think, Brett? Because I know last week.
I gotta give it to him, man. I gotta fucking bite myself for. I think I said we were looking at photos. I was like, oh yeah, he's not gonna be ready. His backside's not in. He won't be in first call out. He shut me up, man. He showed up. He looked good. Fuck yeah, man. I wrote him. I was like, man, you surprised the hell out of me. You did great job. So, they got him and Milos have something going. I don't think he'll jump up and win this show or anything, but I think he could definitely fight for that top 5. And then he needs to keep working with Milos. Maybe he's working with Ray Baker too. I don't know. I just saw me. Ray's from Dallas where he's at. Maybe they're kind of tag teaming, but shout out to those guys. Okay. Yeah. His trainer. Shout out to those guys for, all 3 of them for bringing his best package. And like I said, I'll tell you when I was wrong, and I was wrong. He showed out. So good for him.
Yeah, man. I can't even remember exactly what I said. But his legs, man, there was a discrepancy, I think, a little bit more so last year, but the way they're looking here, they're so much more filled out. And I know Milos does the brutal giant sets workouts, and he obviously loves the insulin and stuff. So I don't want to say what Joe Mackey's using, but obviously Milos, is known for that. So maybe he just filled his legs and his physique out a little bit more, and he's got that sort of popping fullness, because we sort of saw that a little bit last year with Regan Grimes when he actually jumped on with Milos as well. And it's obviously a different sort of way of going about that last bit of prep, and it changed the way Regan sort of looked as well. So I think it works definitely well for some guys, and it's definitely worked well for Joe Mackey, because I wasn't expecting this level of fullness. And as he filled out, you can still see obviously the conditioning from the back here and the lower back. It's not spot on 100%. There's still like a little bit there, but pretty much everywhere else he was pretty spot on. So what do you think, Stan, of Joe Mackey?
I think he's got great symmetry. Like you said, he balances physique out. I don't know, before, I feel he's very complete right now. He could be a little sharper, but it's really, really nice physique. Really, great showing last weekend for sure.
Yeah,
for sure.
Who's
we skipped also, I assume, Chuli, the Korean.
Yes,
I think he did Tampa also last week, or no?
He competed last week. I can't remember what he placed. I know it was down around that sort of 10th sort of place, I think. So around that.
I think 8 to 10, somewhere in there.
Yeah.
Because if he comes in shape, that guy is also insane physique.
Yeah, we talked about that last week, but I don't think he showed up in shape.
Yeah.
He was definitely better than, he did a show, when was it, like earlier in the year. He was definitely better than that, but still not in the shape he needs to be. And you can see here, he's obviously not great lighting, all that sort of stuff, but he's still hitting a pose there, and there's not enough happening for him to place obviously like real high. But Stan, what do you know about, because obviously he trains in the Dragon's Lair when he comes out to the US. What do you know about him? And obviously, he's obviously trying to get in the best condition he can. Does he just struggle with that in terms of just getting that last little bit?
It seems like, I don't know if he's still working. He was working with Neil, I believe. But I know they were training together and he was coaching him. He's got crazy structure, really nice frame, round muscle bellies, but he seems to have a kind of hard time to really nail the conditioning where it needs to be. So not sure. He hasn't been to the Dragon's Lair since earlier this year, maybe end of last year. So I haven't seen him recently. Yeah, he might come now after those shows. I'm not sure, but
hopefully. I mean, it seems to. Well, obviously, when he did that Olympia, he sort of shocked a fair few people. I think he placed around 11th place or something, and that was in 2020, I believe. So if he can get back to that sort of form and conditioning, and it seems like he's put on more size, I think it's just about more conditioning that size and coming in pretty much as hard as possible, because he never really seems to be flat. Like, he always seems to be very rounded full. So if you can do that, he's definitely gonna kill it. But who else is on the list here? I think that's most of the big names in this show, unless you guys can recognize any other names there that I'm sort of missing out and looking over. But I think they're most of the big names. Obviously got Morgan Asti as well, who's an absolute freak, and he's a monster. We'll quickly touch on the 212 and just about wrap up this show. We've got Kerif Badger coming back once again. We'll have Nathan Epler most likely in that 212, even though he's on the open list. We've got Cody Drobot again, who finished 4th last weekend. We've got Ahmed El Wardani, who's a awesome competitor. He came in, I'd say he needs to be a little bit sharper. What are you saying, Sam?
No, I said he was there also last week.
Yeah. We've got a whole bunch of names just, obviously rolling over from
match.
last weekend into this one. Ricky Moten Jr. again, who looked phenomenal. But I'll go to you first, Stan. What do you think about, I assume it's going to be a battle between Nathan Epler and Kerif Badger for the win here because we have no Keon Pearson who won last weekend. And do you think there's anyone else that can sort of factor into it?
I mean, Kerif looked insane. I wasn't sure who they were going to pick. At first, I thought, I saw the overall winner and Keon's name was on top, and I saw Kerif as the first name, so I thought he won, and I didn't have any argument really. Like, I think you could have made both of them are like strong, winners. But obviously Keon's shape is just like such a gift that it's hard to beat. And he was probably in one of his most conditioned physique we've seen yet. So that was enough for him to win again. So I believe Kerif is going to be a front runner for this show, but it depends also how well he can hold his conditioning. And then of course Nathan and Cody is like, was his pro debut. I think he turned pro maybe 3 or 4 years ago now. He took his time. His legs really came up. He's very dangerous too.
Yeah, absolutely. What do you think about, firstly, what do you think about Keon's win last week, Brett? And what do you think about the battle between Nathan Epler and Kerif Badger this weekend?
First off, yeah, definitely want to give props to Kerif, man. He showed up. We talked about that last week. That's kind of, I think we are all right there, pretty similar. That battle between him and Keon, I think was, even closer in person. I think he might even been a little bit harder. But I think, Keon got him on everything else, structure, size, density. But Kerif, man, he's impressive. I knew it too. I saw him last year a few times in person. Look at that, man. His legs are insane. So I don't, honestly, I think this is his show this weekend. I think Nathan will be better because he has kind of enough prep. Like I said, he did shotgun prep 8 weeks out. He's going to be good. But I still think Kerif is going to take this one. It'll be close. I think it'll be between him and Nathan. And then I think Ahmed will move up a little bit because, like I said, I think Ahmed gets better as he gets competing. That's what he's done last year. So I think it'll be, between him and Cody Drobot there, 3-4, throw Ricky in there as well. Kind of the same 6 we saw last week, except minus Keon. And then, I think it'll be a battle between Kerif and Nathan Epler.
Yeah, no, I agree with most of that. Do you want to do some predictions for the 212s? Go to the opens and do a few predictions. Like, we don't have to do a top, we could do a top, 3, 5 for the 212s or something. I can kick it off. Do you want to do that? Let's do it. Okay. In first, I'll say, look, man, I think it's going to be really close between Nathan Epler. I'll bring up some photos actually of Nathan Epler as well in a minute. Between Nathan Epler and also Kerif Badger. I think I'm going to predict Kerif Badger to win, but it would not surprise me. Like, Nathan Epler seems like one of those sort of nutcases that changes really quick, and he's doing like everything he can this week by the looks of it. He's getting all the tissue work and just training hard, doing everything he can, I think, to improve his look from last weekend and come in a little bit crisper, I think. So I think it's going to be close, but I think Kerif Badger will win it. Then you've got, I'd probably say Cody Drobot.
Another guy to look out for here is Jordan Janowitz.
You know what? I looked at his name and I thought, is he someone to watch out for? Because I remember seeing his name and I can't quite put his a name to a face.
I'm pretty sure this is his pro debut, and he did a guest posing last week and he looked pretty nasty. So if they can dry him out and bring him in, I think he's going to be dangerous. I think. Oh yeah, he's a big boy for a 212. You know what I mean?
Yeah, he's outrageous, man. I saw him the other day and I was like, when is this guy making his pro debut? And I didn't actually know that was Jordan, but yeah, he looks crazy. This is 7 days out. This video, he was prepped by Andrew Vu by the looks of it as well. So
it's good to throw him in the rink with these guys. I kind of forgot about this, but I just saw his name, and I might have to change my picks a little bit. We'll see.
Yeah, damn. What do you think about him?
What's that?
What did you say? You just saw Zane? Or you saw his name? I'm not.
Yeah, he said he just saw his name.
I saw his name on the list, and so I forgot he was doing this shit. Yeah, but I've been impressed with his updates.
Yeah, no, he looks very, very thick. A lot of muscle for sure.
Yeah, he's changing my predictions then. Okay, I'll get back to the list. So I'll go. Look, I'm gonna go Kerif first. I'm still gonna keep the same top 2, but after that, man, I'm gonna chuck Jordan in third. In fourth, I will say Cody. just based on his conditioning, and then Ricky Moten, I'll say in 5th. I think and then probably Stephen Didoshak in 6th. I'll go with that. But you guys can give your top 3 or top 2 or whatever you want to give. So Brett, who have you got?
Man, that's tough. I mean, just based off last week, like I said, there could be a lot that changed with Nathan this week. Hopefully he comes in dry. I'd like to see him win as well. But I'm gonna go Kareth, Nathan. I was really impressed with Cody, man, because of his conditioning. I'm gonna go Cody, I'm gonna go Jordan, and then I'm gonna go Ricky Moten.
Yep. No, I like those picks. Stan, what's your picks for this show?
Well, first place I have Garrett for sure. I mean, for sure, nothing is ever sure, but I think he's like such in a great spot already. And I can just relax during the week. He doesn't have too much to do, and the more like relax and refresh he can get, the better it's going to look. After that, Nathan I think is going to be second also. I mean, the hard part for him, I think, is just put such a high standard for his conditioning last year that people expectations are very, very high. So he brought a great physique last weekend, but it's not quite as sharp as we've seen him. So I think that's what he's fighting. He's fighting more against him than anything. But it's going to be, I think, a solid second place. Sorry.
Yeah.
Then in third, I don't see the list anymore. But
sorry,
who was it?
You've got Jordan Janovitz. You've got Ahmed El-Wadani. You've got Stephen Didoshak, Cody Drobot.
Yeah, it's going to be tough between Cody and now seeing Jordan. Like, I think he's got a very dense physique, and he looks like the pictures we just saw were recent, like the conditioning.
Yeah, they were recent. Yeah.
So I mean, if he brings that to the stage, it's going to be really hard. I think he's got more thickness than Cody, so muscularity wise, it's going to be hard to beat. So I would have to go with him. That's third, and fourth Cody, and fifth that's Ricky.
Yeah, cool. Like it. All right, let's move on to be open and do our predictions for that. We'll do like I'll start, and I'll just start going through it. Sort of work it out as I do it. So in the men's open, I'll say in first, man, this is tough. I'm going to say Andrew Jacked. I just think that he's just, man, if he's 6'2", and yeah, in some poses you go, oh, you can feel that a bit more here, but you got to remember he's 6'2". You know, he's going to look like a giant standing next to some of these guys. Like even Quentin, he's 6'1", and Quentin looks real tall on stage as well. So I'm going to put Andrew Jacked in first. That's a tough thing because he compares obviously probably better with Quentin Raya, but how much better can Quentin get when, you know, Kamal was obviously, you know, there was a lot of people last weekend that thought he could have actually won that show. So I'm going to say Kamal in second. Actually, no, I'm going to say Kamal in second. I'm going to say Martin in third because I think he'll compare well with Kamal. And then I'll say
who in second?
Sorry?
Kamal in second? Who did you say
I've got Kamal in second, then Martin in third, and then I've got in fourth, I've got Quentin Araya. But I think it's going to be a very close sort of a top 4. In fifth, I will say, man, it's such a tough list. In fifth, I'll say Joe Mackey. I'll keep going.
You have Mackey over Kuklo?
Oh shit, man! I forgot Kuklo.
Yeah, exactly. It's like it's deep, bro.
Man, this lineup is tough, man. It is so stacked.
Yeah.
Okay, Kuklo, where do I fit him in? It's like when you think about it. Okay, this is how I think about it from last year's Olympia. You got obviously like Ian 7th, then you've got Justin Rodriguez in 8th, you've got Akeem Williams in 9th, and it's like, okay, how good was Akeem in this show compared to last year's Olympia? I think he was definitely better, in my opinion. So where does that put Akeem in the Olympia conversation? And then some people were saying that, you know, Quentin and Kamal, and many people said Kamal was better than that. So what would Akeem been challenging with Ian at last year's Olympia? So, you know, then you go, okay, well, if he's challenging with Ian at last year's Olympia, Ian Valliere beat Steve Kuklo. So do you put a Kamal over a Steve Kuklo, which sounds crazy, but Kamal sort of has what Steve doesn't have. So I don't think it's a good matchup for Steve, but Steve might overwhelm him in size. So I'm so conflicted. So anyway, after all that, I'll say, okay, let me start this again. I'll say in first, I'll have Andrew Jacked. Second, I'll have who did I have in second last time? I had Kamal. So I'm going to put Kamal in second. I'll put Steve Kuklo in third. Oh man, I don't know, but I'd sort of want to pick Quentin over Steve. Man, this is tough. I'll save Steve Kuklo in third because he is so big, and he's a guy that's finished top 6 in the Olympia, so we've got to put him up there somewhere. And then I'll say Martin in fourth, which I was going to say Martin could be a shock guy and actually win this show, like really shock people. I'm so impressed with him. So actually, I'm putting Martin third. I don't care. And then I'm putting Steve in fourth, Quentin in fifth, which sounds crazy because I think Quentin can win the show. So. Oh man, and then in sixth, I don't know, I guess Joe Mackey. And then you go down to seventh, man. Like, where are you going to put Phil Clahart? Where are you going to put Jafet Clarifant? I think I'm going to put Jafet next. Then maybe like a Phil Clahart and then Eddie Brecamontes. Like, it's stacked, man. Like, this top 10 is going to be ridiculous. Then you got Siang Chul Lee. So it's a crazy lineup. So that's my predictions. I don't know how far I went down, but I'll write it all down after the show and yeah, get our picks there. But what do you have, Brett? Because this lineup is so difficult to pick. It's crazy.
This is going to be one of the only shows I'm going to sit out. I'm just.
Oh no, you can't do that, man. You can't do that. I just put it on the line.
I'm telling you, it's going to come down to it's literally going to come down to who has the best peak. I think it's that close.
It's Texas.
Okay, you can't just sit out. I don't know. Because it's just so hard with Andrew Jack in there. How is he gonna look standing next to people? That's the biggest factor. I know how he looks to himself. He looks awesome. Even Stan can contest to that in person. He looks great. But how is he gonna look next to a 5'8" guy that's a little bit with less gaps? You know what I mean?
But the thing is, he's just so wide and he still pops. He was wearing his t-shirt the other day, his chest was just stretching it, it looks just ridiculous. It's
280 pounds, 275 pounds. That's huge, man. So
yeah, it's at least that. Yeah, at the Arnold, I think he was close to 290. His old prep, he was 290. So he's more conditioned now. But yeah, I wouldn't be surprised at least 270, 275.
We'll see what his condition is.
And look at his legs. I don't know. It's just so bubbly. So he takes so much space.
Yeah, and think about with Kamal standing next to him. Kamal's going to be up to his shoulder probably.
Yeah, barely.
Yeah, that's
you also have to factor in stage experience as well, though.
It's true.
How good is he at posing? You know what I mean? Yeah, everyone looks good.
Definitely something he can improve on. There's still some shots that are not he doesn't hit he couldn't make himself look better, I think.
Yeah.
But I think he practiced. So I mean, I don't know. His posing conditioning should be good enough.
Yeah, man. I'm looking at you see him there. He's doing that front relax, and he had striations through his lower chest. He's definitely in shape. I think that obviously.
You can see every muscle fiber. Everything is there.
Yeah, and the way Milos was talking about him on the phone to me, he was because he's seen a lot of guys lately. He's seen Crizzo, he's seen Andrew Jacked, and he pretty much couldn't stop talking about him, how crazy he thought he looked.
Yeah.
So, and I respect his opinion, man. So, and that ab and thigh, I don't think anyone can beat that. Quentin obviously will challenge him on that one, but I haven't seen a more symmetrical ab and thigh with the abs popping out like that. I mean,
his lats,
just about ever. Yeah, and his lats. It's such a complete pose. It's crazy. So, yeah, even when he hits a front double bicep, you go, okay, maybe he could fill out some sections of it a little bit more there. But at the same time, he's 6'2", so the way that looks on stage at 6'2" is going to be pretty damn crazy. So I don't know, man. That's why I'm picking him for the win. But Brett, you got to put something on the line, man. I'm just predicting Martin and Quentin, and not at the top of the lineup. And they're obviously I know Quentin, I'm friends with them. So because this is the way it is. If you pick Kamal and Steve outside of the top three, they're going to be that's disrespect. We should be the favorites. And look, they should probably be the favorites, but that's just my predictions on how I think things might play out. And it could play out any number of which ways. And honestly, I hope, I'm rooting for, obviously, I want all these guys to do well, but I know, Martin and Quentin and stuff the best. So I'm rooting for those guys. I obviously want them to look really good and win the show and place right up there. But, if put a gun to my head, that's my predictions. So give us something, Brett. Give us your winner, or maybe.
All right, we'll go. I'm just gonna go for the for sure bet of who's gonna show up fully conditioned, and that's gonna be Kamal.
Yeah.
We're gonna go Kamal 1 because I know what he'll look like, and he's always gonna be on. After that, shit, man. Like I said.
Do you want me to throw my names at you?
No, I know my top 5, and it's just where I'm going to put them. I know where. Yeah, I know that means. What I think Freak Factor. Yeah, I think we're gonna. I think. I just if they peak him right, Andrew Jack can be there. You know, what I mean, I think he's good, especially from the back. It just matters what his condition is. So we'll go him second. I do have Martin over Steve. I think Martin can beat him on a lot of the back shots and side shots. So I'm gonna have Martin third. I'm gonna have Steve fourth, and I'm gonna have Quentin fifth.
Yeah, it's pretty similar to mine. I think we just have the top 2 flipped. I have Andrew winning, and you have Kamal. So that's interesting. I like it. Stan, what's your predictions for this show?
I have Andrew winning the show, just because he's just so like different looking. Then that's when it gets complicated, of course. But I want to go with Kamal in second. Then I'm gonna play safe and put Steve third, even though I would like to put Quentin really high too. I'll put Steve, Martin, and Quentin. Quentin and Martin that was so tough.
It's tough, man. And they're so different as well. And we haven't seen Martin peaked like this. So like I have such high expectations for him. What I've seen. But I have high expectations of a lot of these guys because everyone's so this lineup is so hard.
Yeah, so I would say I'm gonna put Quentin fourth and Martin fifth.
Yeah.
But I mean, it means nothing.
Yeah, exactly. It means absolutely nothing. But yeah, that's cool. I think we got a good preview of that Texas Pro in. And now we're probably not going to have time for listener questions. But Stan, I want to talk to you for a second. And if you don't want to talk about it, that's all good because obviously, you know, you were best friends, it seemed like, with Sean Roden, who, you know, tragically passed away. And he was obviously, you know, going through a lot of stuff in his personal life and everything he had going on. And you were, you know, right there with him, training with him once again, because I know, you know, you guys were obviously training partners back in Golds. Then, you know, you guys, I think did you move away or he moved away, and then you reunited in the Dragon's Lair, which was really, really cool to see.
Yeah, he moved closer to his daughter for, you know, when I was still in LA, so I was already an hour away, and I moved to Chicago for almost a year, and then we joined each other in Vegas, and we're roommates here. Yeah, I'm still living in the same house actually.
Oh, really? Like, I imagine that's probably like a hard sort of thing, you know, like living in that same house. But how has it obviously affected you, man? Because like when I heard the news, you were sort of one of the first people I thought of. You know, being so close to Sean and you know, the way you know, you guys seem to have such a close bond, and all the videos and stuff like that, like you were always like basically like his number one or one of his number one supporters. So how is, I suppose, the loss of Sean affected you, and what sort of hold did that leave, I guess, in your life?
It affected me. Sorry?
If you want to answer that, man, because obviously feel free to say
no. I'm open to talk about it. I mean, it's going to be almost a year in November, so. But yeah, it was just very unexpected, honestly. That's the thing that was really came out of nowhere. You know, he was not feeling very well, like the last week or so. He was feeling a little over the weather, but like that day actually he was feeling better. We had a good laugh, we had good talks, and we were just talking about food and stuff. And you know, I got a call that, you know, he's rushing to the hospital. So that was really unexpected to say the least. And then it affected me a lot, especially, you know, at first I had the show like we decided with Sean, I was debating and doing Egypt, and then I said we decided just to stay here with Patrick, also my coach Dior, and just trying to make some more progress until Toronto. So instead of like trying to start traveling, doing Egypt, Romania, whatever other show there was in Europe, so I stayed here. So that was the week after the Legion. So I just decided that. So then the good thing is I had like a goal to really focus on. So I kind of like was very just obsessed with this show. So, and that was the whole month, you know, his brother came over here. They started like looking through his stuff. Then we had, of course, the funerals that were in Maryland, in DC. And so that kind of dragged the whole month, and I was still like focused on my show in Toronto. So then when I finished the show and like I was just flying back from Toronto to Vegas, that's kind of like it hit me again, you know, like it's like, okay, now it's like, now what? Now it's like facing the reality. And it was a big adjustment, you know, because we were just relying on each other so much and training, you know, we're just spending so much time together. Just it became so much of a, you know, someone you just used to have in your really close circle, just to have around. So it just left a big void. I mean, luckily I met someone recently, like a few months ago, that, you know, really helped me, like, not being happy, of course being happier, but like not like I was depressed, but it was just to see like life, you know, under a different light, just a little more positive, because I've had a lot of like little lagging injuries and like digestion issue over the last year or two. So it was starting to add up, you know. It was kind of like, you know, I have high goals. I want to do things really well. And I always had my number one supporter as Sean, who really believed in me since my day one. And not having him around, you know, knowing everything that happened and feeling this way, it was tough to go through all that and really like just keep pushing and just taking one challenge after the other, finding solutions, you know, because I think that's the hardest part about bodybuilding. When I was first really like getting into it, I would see like bodybuilders that had, you know, great potential, making progress year after year, and suddenly like they kind of hit the plateau. And I was like, why, you know, they're not training as hard, or they're not doing this. But that's, you know, when you're on the other side and you kind of like see like how much like you know, things affect you, and then it affects your digestion issue. One of my main issues is like I drink too much and then I don't eat enough. I have to eat a lot to really like stay so you know, anabolic state. So if I don't do that, you know, my body gets inflamed and my digestion starts to mess up. And then if you don't eat enough, then you don't perform as well. But if you keep pushing, you still don't recover, and you need that overtraining kind of spiral. And then it leads to injuries, because you have all this inflammation, you start hurting yourself. And that's another like step back. So then you can't train as hard. It's just kind of like mess with your head a lot, you know?
Yeah.
So kind of like just taking a challenge after the other, finding solutions, having, you know, my girlfriend, having my family, having Patrick, my coach, and some, you know, close people around really helped me, like just take one challenge after the other, and just like, you know, keep finding solutions, and, you know, stay with the love of lifting, and just find ways to go around any, you know, little pain or injuries, and just keep progressing. So like looking back, you know, I had a few like hurts this past year, but like I'm happy that I've still been able to make my usual yearly progress. So I'm still going in the right direction, I believe. So that's what's, you know, pretty cool with the overall picture.
Yeah, man. And it, like you said as well, like obviously you had your show to focus on, you know, after Sean passed, which, you know, I lost someone very, very close to me. You know, I was actually a partner when I was younger, and I just literally threw myself into a show prep because it was like, just completely distracted me. And it was like, just tunnel vision on that. And honestly, like I ended up like what I did that prep, and I was like a natural dude. I was young as at the time, like 20 years old or whatever. And what I did as a natural guy, like I don't think many people would have gone to those levels. And it was because I was like, oh, what she went through was harder than me. And like, I would just push myself to the next level. And it was a great distraction, because like really it helped me, you know, have a goal and work towards something and all that sort of stuff. But I went sort of a bit next level where it was a bit destructive, but it is good to have that sort of distraction. But obviously, you know, when that, you know, the thing that distracts you from actually dealing with the grief, you know, that sort of next wave of grief comes in. So obviously you experienced that, and it can still happen for obviously a long while after. But I'm glad you've obviously had someone that's been able to, in your life, that's been able to help you, and you're able to sort of, you know, move in positive directions.
Yeah, that was good to have that. But I think that's also another thing with, you know, competitors, is we're so focused for months at a time, or even the whole year, about one show. And then when it's over, it's like, now what? You know, like you get that big void. And I had that big void, and then to face the reality, like, you know, have to, you know, reorganize the house. I mean, it's stuff that took me months to really get into, you know, because it was just hard. And I, you know, I still expect him to come back, you know, not really like consciously, like, I know he's not going to come back through the door, but the way he left, it was just not like finished business, in a sense. That it's kind of weird to, like, you know, his stuff was left, you know, open, and like, you know, just to have to go through all that. So,
man, yeah, that'd be tough. Like, it's one of those things as well. I don't know if you guys do it, but definitely like dealing with grief, I'm like, oh, if it's something that's hard to deal with, you just, you know, in terms of that sort of stuff, like for me, I just avoid it for way too long. It's not healthy. But I think more men sort of do that. I don't know about you Stan, and you Brett, like I don't know if you do that, but I'm definitely someone who will just avoid those things that are hard emotionally or mentally at pretty much at all costs until I'm forced to sort of deal with it, which, you know, you sort of know in a way isn't healthy, but it's sometimes you need that little bit of relief from, I suppose, dealing with that sort of grief. And man, I can only imagine what sort of you went through in the past, you know, 9 months or whatever, 10 months.
But even that, like, even you avoid it, it's still, you know, it catch up with you out of nowhere, you know, like, I mean, I was at USA's like, but that's like 2 weeks ago, and I was just watching the show. Suddenly, like, it just felt like weird, you know. I just one of those moments where you like,
yeah,
just get the gut out of nowhere. You were not expecting it or nothing. So yeah, it just, you know, you're trying to, like, I know what you're saying, you know, just trying to avoid the, you know, things that you don't want to deal with, and but it just, you know, you catch up because you one way or another.
yeah. And man, I think Sean's memory will live on, and I like the fact that at least, obviously, you know, what was hanging over his head with all that crap, like, you know, I felt bad for Sean, man, because everyone in the industry that came out said that that's not Sean, and it made me, I think it made a lot of people in the bodybuilding industry almost angry and upset that he didn't get the chance to clear his name and say, you know, and get.
So what's upsetting a little bit is more like the people that were talking now and defending him at that point is like, where were you, you know, like 3 years ago? It's like, now you speak up, like, you know, now you want to do something. Because I mean, I reached out to some athletes back then, like, let's boycott the Olympia, you know, like, if they're not going to let him compete. And I talked about it to Sean. Sean was like, no, don't do that. But I mean, of course, that's the power the athletes have at the end of the day. If we really, like, you know, if there's a solidarity between the athletes and we really want some things to change, we can just stick up together and make, you know, make those changes if they really mean something to us. So
yeah, of course.
That was the thing about Sean, Stan, is he didn't stop supporting bodybuilders either. You know, he could have crawled into a hole and been depressed and been mad. He just kept showing up to every show. He was at every Olympia. He was at, you know, all the big shows, USA's, everything. He just kept, you know, that had to be hard for him because, you know, you can't compete and, you know, you're the talk. But he, you know, that's one thing, like, when everything got done, I just respected so much is he wasn't going to be defeated by it. You know what I mean? He was going to still show love to his brothers, and that's who he was, you know? So, like, you know, I can't even imagine on your front, because I know what kind of a person he was, and that what brother he was to you, because he was to everybody, you know, to some degree. So it's
he was out everywhere. Sorry,
it's just insane how he handled that. You know what I mean? Just as a true professional, and it's a shitty situation, man.
Yeah. I mean, I was talking about that like not long ago, actually. Even it's just the way he was. You know, some people think, oh, he's being nonchalant, or like, it's like, you know, why he didn't say anything, why he didn't come out and make a public announcement, or it's just, for him, he didn't have to justify anything. It's like, he knows these truths, and it's like, I don't have to just, you know, the people that know me, they know, and that's really all that matters to him. But it's like, it goes deeper than that, you know, because he impacted him, of course, just not just, you know, his whole, you know, finances, you know, he lost some sponsorship, because that he was not like a great, like, you know, social media, doing like all those videos and stuff. I mean, I helped him and trying to push him that way, but what was really like getting him the sponsorship is him getting on stage. So once they took, you know, the league took that away from him, or the Olympia, more so, it's just, it took away his revenue, really, his source of revenue. So it's sad, but it's not like he didn't care, or it's just that it's just the way he was, you know. It's like, he doesn't need to defend himself to certain people, and he knows his truth, so that's enough for him somehow. Doesn't need to go and trying to convince people.
Yeah. I remember when, you know, Sean was obviously being held out from contests. I remember, you know, he was put on the poster for the Arnold Classic, and then shortly after that was taken away, and he thought he was actually competing in the Arnold Classic, and everyone was sort of, you know, rejoicing, like, oh, look, it's got Big Ramy and Sean Roden. I don't even think
both too.
yeah. And that didn't happen, obviously. So
because he was talking to everybody, you know, everybody was telling him, oh, you know, we want you at the Olympia, we want you at the Arnold, but So there was all these talks also. That another thing I think he hang on to, and that's not for no reason that he passed away like 2 weeks after the Olympia either. It's just that hit him a lot. I mean, it was a very eventful year for many reasons, but that coming back for the Olympia is just for him and never being able to defend his title and seeing those athletes that he had the really conviction that he could beat, bring a better physique on stage and win the title again. It was for him hard to. I don't even think he stayed the whole show. He was at the Olympia, but I don't think he was able to physically handle being watching those guys do what he wanted to do.
Yeah, man. I honestly, if I was him, I would not want to be there. Like, especially when obviously, like, I just think about being in his situation, man. Like, even though he's like, comfortable knowing the truth of what happened, and I think that sort of really says a lot about it. To be honest, I think that he didn't do anything. You know what I mean, in terms of like anything wrong. So, because if the guy's that comfortable, I don't think that if he'd done it, then I don't think he would be feeling that comfortable. Obviously. So, but even me, what's that?
Yeah. Unless you're a sociopath, you can feel like guilt-free and just go and places and show your face like nothing,
Yeah, exactly. And Sean wasn't a psycho like that, like how maybe like a psychopath would be, anyone that knew him knew that wasn't the case. And that's why I was saying that, on my videos and stuff, that Sean Roden should be allowed to compete. And, I said, look, if he's convicted of something later on, then take the prize money off him. I'll hold part of a prize money or something like that, just make some ways to go, okay, look, if he was guilty, obviously, we know what we sort of think and all that sort of stuff. But if he was, then okay, say this happens or whatever. But I think that would have been a better way to go about it. But obviously, how it's handled, in big sports is typically the way I guess it was handled, which I think is unfortunate because I don't think bodybuilding is really it's a closer knit sport than like an NFL or something like that. So
yeah,
that was obviously my opinion.
Even it's good. Sorry, the GoFundMe is also a shame, like how it has been handled, and now I mean it's back on, but like people don't know now, people doubt it, and like the money raised for him after all this is kind of ridiculous. Like it's such a stupid amount for somebody like who's done so much for so many people and for the sports in general. It's kind of a shame, but
I'll bring it up because if people can still donate,
I think they re-uploaded like in January or something.
I'll bring it up. I'll share my screen as well so everyone can. Oh yeah, man, that's a ridiculously small amount, and obviously when these things.
Well, it's gonna be, in November is going to be the 1 year that he passed away. So maybe we can like refresh people's mind and explain it a little better. But yeah, it's sad how it was handled, and $12,000 for somebody that has millions of followers on social media. It's a little painful to watch.
Yeah, of course. Okay, so I want to put this out here because this is for his daughter, Cora, as well, who's like that's the thing, man. Like being a dad, that's what like hits, like that's when I heard about John Meadows and stuff like that. That's the thing that like man breaks my heart, like honestly, for these guys and their partners and all that sort of stuff. And it's like ridiculously heartbreaking. So his daughter obviously grows up without a father now, and it's like, man, that's tough. So I do want to encourage not only obviously myself sharing it out, but let's all share this out on our social medias. Hopefully Nick Strength and Power and those sorts of channels pick this up, Fuad's, all the guys, and promote this a bit, because it's I will say I didn't even know this was still up. I didn't know it came back up. So some
people question it too, because the other way it was posted at first, and there was confusion and all those talks on between the different people on social media. People were confused, so I think it just hurt the whole process. And like now it's just painful to watch. Like I said, we just can't raise more than $12,000 for somebody that's done so much and affected so many lives in the world.
And you can confirm this is legit, and this will go to obviously family. Yeah, cool. Okay, cool. So I want to make sure of that as well, so people have that reassurance that it's not going to being stolen or anything like that.
Straight to Cora's mother, Michelle, and she will have that locked in for Cora.
Okay, cool. Well, let's put a big push on this, because yeah, definitely deserves a lot more than $12,000, you know. And obviously Sean Roden, his ability to make money, like you said earlier, Stan, was taken away as well, which is, you know, to be honest, not fair on him. And I felt for him because that, like, you know, I did the sort of maths on what, you know, even if he placed second to be Olympia and didn't win it again, which, you know, I think the next year, if he bought the same package, I think he would have won it again. No offense to Brandon Curry, because he was the man on the stage that won that Olympia. But I think that, you know, the conditioning of Sean would have been probably too much and he would have won another Olympia. That's 400 grand, maybe sponsorship bonuses, obviously keeping the sponsors as well, probably getting more sponsors and higher paying ones. And man, it was a lot of money difference, and that money
and guest appearances, you know, a lot of people don't want to have him, you know, guest appear, like if with the rumors and like all the things going against him. So it just hurt on so many levels. And yeah, that was, and for him, you know, taking care of his daughter has always been his number one priority. So it would be nice to have something that he can, you know, have in a way for her, you know, after all this.
Yeah, of course, because we definitely want to keep his memory alive. So mentioning him and mentioning his daughter and all that sort of stuff definitely does that. And it's cool that he's got, you know, had such good friends like you, man, that are able to, you know, recite things and remember things about Sean and what sort of person he was. So Stan, I want to thank you for obviously talking about that first and foremost.
Yeah, no, it was just like his daughter's birthday, like 3 weeks ago, I believe.
Oh, really?
End of mid-July, end of July.
How old is she?
She's 6 now.
Oh, wow.
2017. She's 5, I think.
Yeah.
6. I'm not sure now.
Yeah, you don't either.
So smart. She's so smart that she seems older than she is. So I might say a mistake. It might be a mistake, but I think she's 6.
Yeah. I mean, I always get confused with kids because they grow so quick, like around those ages. So it's like,
yeah, but I think she was born at 17. So that's why I'm confused right now. But I think she's older than that.
Well, I'm trying to, I mean, I can't even remember what years my kids were born in. Like, I just know what age they are, just 1 and 3. So that's all I know.
Yeah. I think that was 16 and she's 6.
Yeah, I literally just do the maths. I just count back. But yeah, Stan, thank you so much for coming on Bodybuilding University. We'd definitely love to have you on some other times. And, you know, like I mentioned to you, looking at starting potentially another podcast on here as well. And we can get, you know, a whole group of guys. And it's cool. I think the guests we had on today, and hopefully we'll get some of those guys back on a little bit more as well. So thank you so much, Stan, for coming on. Do you want to thank any sponsors or anything like that before we wrap it up?
Yeah, thanks for having me. Thank you, Olympia and Trifecta, of course, for helping me. And yeah, looking forward to come back. I love talking bodybuilding and got a good group of guys there. So it's always fun to catch up. So anytime, just
Great. Love it. And Brett, do you have any final words? Obviously, you're looking massive, as I mentioned at the start of the episode. And I suppose I just want to ask you, man, when does prep start? Because, you know, obviously you mentioned competing in 2022 and, you know, time's coming up.
Next week.
I like it.
Going to Denver this weekend, and then it's full on go after that. So no traveling. I think I have like one more guest go in September, but we're locked in. So I'll be good for all these shows all the way through. So we're gonna finish out this year strong. And good luck to you, Stan, on the rest of your prep. I'm excited to hear that you're competing. So I'll be in touch with you. And it was a good one today. Looking forward to the show. And we'll be talking about it next week, right, Xavier? Yeah,
absolutely, man. Can't wait for it. And anyone, please just don't get offended at where we predict you, because it's really ridiculous. Because if we predict you lower and you place really high, and we look like the idiots, it's like it doesn't affect the way I don't think people think about you as well.
I'll honestly be surprised if I even got one of the placings right, like 1 through 5. Yeah, I'll be shocked. It's just going to be shuffled around, and it's going to be a good show. And this is a good lead to the end of the year. And I'm bodybuilding is rolling right now. So everyone go support the show this weekend. Get the live cast there.
Yes.
You said in Colorado, right? You're in Colorado. You're in Texas still.
I'm in Florida now, man. I'm in Florida.
Oh, you're in Florida. No, because I thought you were just in Texas for the better body stuff.
Yeah, I've been everywhere, bro. I've been everywhere lately.
All right.
I live here, but I was in Dallas last week for the Gas Better Bodies. It was their 40th anniversary, so that was a lot of fun. That's where I saw Martin. And then I go to Denver this weekend for the last guest posing, and a little bit of about a 2-day vacation where I'm gonna go up the mountain to the lake with Hunter for a few days, and then we're on it after that.
Yeah, I knew you moved to Florida, but I just didn't, because you said you were guest posing. I know if you came back from
came
Texas.
back for a few months. That's it.
Okay. I don't know how you can train like that. Like when I fly, it takes me at least 3 days to readjust.
My body's hurting, man. I will say that. I'm getting worked up. I gotta go to, massage work right when I get down to Denver and stuff. So I'm just making do right now, maintaining, and then I've been lucky enough, pushing the training has been, like you saw, it was really good in Vegas. Especially in those environments. Especially those environments where everybody's, thriving and stuff. Dallas was okay. I needed to eat probably a little bit more, but I'm ready to get settled down for sure.
Yeah.
Awesome. All right, guys. Thank you so much for doing this show once again. I want to encourage people as well. Check out Stanimal on Instagram as well. What's your username?
Stanimal 9.
Oh, that's easy. If you type in Stanimal, we definitely find you, man. Check out Brett on YouTube and Instagram. And you've got a YouTube channel as well too, Stan. Is that just Stanimal TV?
That's it, yeah.
Beautiful. Awesome. So I encourage everyone to check that out as well. I'll put the links to all that sort of stuff in the description below so people can find that easily. But anyway, everyone subscribe, click the notification bell button. That way you'll be notified every time. And then one of these episodes goes up from myself, Brett Wilkins, and whoever else jumps on with us. So that's it for me. Brett Wilkin, Stanimal, Andrew Jacked. We had a whole bunch of other names on here as well. We had Lee Priest. We had, tons of names on here. So Chris Cormier. Yeah, so it was killer, man. So that's it for all of us. And for Xavier Wills, myself, we are out.